Hollywood. I am here with a new episode of The Old 52. And here we are. I've been inspired, obviously, by the new 52 from DC, which is a whole bunch of new number ones that came out, and boy, wasn't that fun. I am showing you some old back issues that were number ones of defunct series for a little spotlight. And I think these are all worth checking out if you haven't read these before. The one I'm talking about today is Legends of the Dark Knight number 1 from 1989. The cover proudly brags that this is the first new Batman solo book since 1940. Now, that of course is making reference to the fact that, yeah, Batman's had, like, I think 4 titles or something like that. Yeah, Batman Detective, Brave and the Bold, and Batman and the Outsiders, but he only had, for all that time, just 2 solo books. And this is the first one. Can you believe it? He has like, now, like 12. So, I mean, this is kind of a weird little novelty. Like, hey, a 3rd Batman book. And you'll notice also this has a interesting cover here. It has actual extra cover right here, where this the standard inside cover, and then it has this other stuff with the Batman's back and shit like that. Also, it says it addresses that actually. It reads, "Why this extra protective cover? What makes Batman Legends of the Dark Knight number 1 so special? You may already know this is the first ongoing Batman book created for comic specialty stores rather than newsstands." Newsstands? What are those? But did you realize this is the first ongoing solo Batman book since Batman number 1 in 1940? Wait, how old is Scott Snyder? I didn't know he was from 1940. Oh well. This is also DC's first comic to create. This is DC's first comic created to present separate Batman stories by different creative teams. The best talents of the industry will use Batman Legends of the Dark Knight to tell stories that, like the 5-issue Shaman story, stand alone outside of the regular Batman and Detective books. Essentially what this it was designed to be specifically different than the other 2 Batman books. They were normally, it started out 5-issue story arcs, but after a while they kind of just realized, well, however many issues you got for the story arc is fine. Like, there were eventually some single-issue stories. But mainly they tried to keep it at 5. And the artists on the books, the writers and artist teams were all rotating. The creative team after this one was Grant Morrison. And, let's see, the artist on that one was Klaus Johnson. And that was the Gothic storyline. Although in here it's called Whisper, so they had a name change. Oh, and here's a cool thing. It's advertisement for the Batman '89 soundtrack from Prince. And, you know, I completely forgot about this. This is what was a limited edition Batcan. Yeah, they called it the Batcan. So, you know, Batman had some serious diarrhea. He'd go to the Batcan. But this is, yeah, I didn't get this tin. At the time I was collecting cassettes. And I did eventually have it on CD, but it was just one of the regular ones. And here we go. What is this about? This is Denny O'Neil, and the artist on this one is Edward Hannigan, and he's the penciler. And this is, like I said, the storyline is called Shaman, and it is designed to be the beginning of Batman, and it is designed specifically around Frank Miller's Year One, which was only, like, what, 4 or 5 years earlier. And this issue starts before he gets to Gotham City in the first issue of Frank Miller's Year One story, where he is getting, I'm guessing, the last of his training by a tracker in Alaska, where it goes bad. The guy they're tracking kills the tracker, and Batman fights him, but the guy falls to his death, taking Bruce Wayne's survival gear with him. So it's looking pretty seriously bad for our Bat hero, and he has a flashback to his parents. He has this weird hallucination about his parents getting killed by a snowman, of all things, which is an odd choice. I guess he's in the snow. But it could have been a polar bear for, all we know. Anyway, he's rescued by this, let's see, this little tribe of American Indian folks here in Alaska. And part of the ritual is he puts on a bat mask and tells the story of how bats came to be. Essentially, the bat was without wings at first, and it saw its friend, the raven, I think it is, or crow. Oh, it's a raven. Fall sick, and it's being bitten by snakes. I guess in the disease in the form of snakes, and it asks how it can help, and it's told the raven tells it that it can blow away the sickness, and it grows wings and does just that, and as a gift it gets to keep the wings, and that's how bats came to be, which, by the way, is the actual scientific explanation from what I understand. And by the way, let me just say the breakaway here, where it gets into the folktale, is really interesting. It's very not regular standard DC superhero art, so it's very cool. And we have the flashes of the tribal masks, which are kind of cool. And that happens a couple of times in here. And here's another cool thing. This came with a poster. This is a movie poster. I've never removed it. And it's for the movie Shocker. That's how old this comic is. I wonder if I should remove it. Maybe I should put it on my wall. It's like, yeah, Shocker. That was terrible. Anyway. Oh, and yeah, here we go. We go right to year 1, and we see a flashback of how the night went. And Denny O'Neil's take of the scene where he encounters the bat right after he gets back from that terrible night. And let's see, then of course we go right to Batman's first night with the costume. And it jumps around the first night in year 1. And I guess this is the second time he's ventured out. We see him try to help, let's see, Leslie Tompkins. She's being held up by some drugstore cowboys, apparently. And once Batman beats the shit out of them pretty handily and tells them in a very 1989 movie way, tell everybody about me, I'm Batman. Which, by the way, it's like, in 1989 he had to do it that way. But to his shock, the American Indian woman that was watching freaks out at his sight and stabs herself in the heart, killing herself, which leads us to the mystery of this storyline. Well, how'd it go? This is, of course, a really this is a pretty intriguing series, and what I liked about Legends of the Dark Knight was it wasn't like any other typical Batman series. It had like a purpose and a concept. And the stories all were supposed to take place within the first few years of Batman's existence. I think generally it was said that it was supposed to be in the first 3 years, or 2 years before Dick Grayson showed up. So they were attempting post-crisis to fill in the blanks. And the Shaman story is fantastic. My particular favorite one is the next story arc with Grant Morrison and Gothic. I think that's an amazing book. And I've talked about this before on my channel, so you know how much I like that story. Well, this has been traded. I don't know if it's still in print, but you can definitely find this pretty cheaply, I guess. It's not $1, but you could probably find it for a couple bucks at your local comic book store or online if you can. So, I highly recommend it. You check it out. This is the Legends of the Dark Knight #1, and I think that's it. Push the button, Lindsay.